Yes, everyone, episode 27. And don't call it a comeback, because this week it's all about bouncebackability. Enjoy.
Choose the fact.
And that's why you should always wash your hands. Boys. We're back.
We are back.
Episode 27. Don't call it a comeback, because this week it's all about comebacks. It's all about bouncebackability.
Yeah, okay.
That's the theme of the week.
Okay.
Get knocked down.
There you go. But I'd show one before
I
you.
had to stop before I got copywritten or whatever.
Yeah. So the theme of this week is bouncebackability, or the good old fashioned comeback. Now, the word bouncebackability gets used quite a bit now. But do you remember the origin of bouncebackability when it came to the mainstream?
It was a football manager, wasn't it?
It was a football manager. It wasn't just any football manager. It was a connoisseur of culture himself. It was Ian Dowie.
Oh, right.
Now, Ian Dowie,
Connoisseur of culture.
he looks like
A gargoyle.
The guy from the Goonies. The guy from the Goonies.
Hey, you go.
He looks exactly like that.
Oh, no.
So Ian Dowie
He was
was
also taken to court by his employer as well as a football manager.
he's just a good old fashioned tracksuit wearing, ball heading, dressed room shouting.
Get it up your duck. Stick it right on, innit?
Black
You know what I mean?
boots,
Yeah.
no nonsense. But Ian Dowie said it in the 2003-2004 season when Crystal Palace defied the odds and came back halfway through a season and got promotion. But he didn't think that he would be a literary genius, not genius, but...
Is he in the Oxford Dictionary? Is his mug next to the word bouncebackability?
Well, if you remember, actually, so I remember this really clearly, funnily enough, but Soccer AM started saying it loads, and then it was a big deal that Oxford Dictionary put it in the dictionary, and that was like a bit of a social...
So if enough people
Say
harp
something.
on about something,
Yes.
the Oxford Dictionary might stick in.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
happening all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, with slang, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, when you said it's very commonly used, I guess it's like a sporting football thing, because I don't hear that word at all.
Yeah,
So
I think it is, and I think that's what we've really come to, and we're going to kick things off with the best sporting comebacks of all time.
yeah, okay.
Because the comeback really it's drama, right? It's things are going one way, and then something happens, and then all of a sudden the tide starts turning, and it's just guaranteed drama. And we'll go into movies a little bit later on, but it's that theme of comebacks is so prevalent in sport because it's like. It's so binary sport, isn't it? There's a winner, but then it can go either way. So what I've done is I've compiled, and this is going to be very biased to me and what the sport I like, obviously, because it has to be. For example, there's no basketball in here. There's no baseball because it's not my sport. So if you are watching, listening, and you've got some sporting comebacks that you think are better, let us know.
Yeah,
and,
I'd like to do this.
And tell us why as well, especially if there's any Americans out there, because I know for a fact, like,
Great basketball.
Buzzer beaters are amazing, aren't they? In a basketball,
buzzer beat.
like just the fact that it goes, the rim goes red as the ball's in the air.
Yeah.
That's drama. So I know there must be them, but I just don't know enough about it. So
because they will look exactly the same. I'll say that. That's all I'll
the ball
say about
going
that.
in the hoop.
Just the big.
oh, one team got 115, the other got 113. Guess what happened? The ball done went in the hoop.
Wow, that's stupid. Yeah.
You're right though. It does lose a little bit of.
Hey,
Yeah.
How many times are we going to see that?
Yeah.
That last second buzzer beater from across the other side of the court.
Versus someone hitting it off the crossbar and in from 45 yards. Like, that's
Which one of those things is more impressive?
100% a football goal.
That's where we want to see some.
More variables. More variables.
I also think it's harder. It's more impressive to hit the bar because it's harder to hit the bar.
And
But it doesn't have quite the same result, does it? Because it doesn't go in.
Isn't the hoop infinitely smaller than a goal?
Yeah, but it's a more repeatable. and you're closer.
Oh,
You're also using your hand versus like
You're
a
also
moving
closer.
ball.
oh yeah, closer.
Anyway,
Well, not if you're the other end of the court.
And there's a goalkeeper.
There is a goalkeeper. Aren't there
someone's-
like 10 of them in basketball?
yeah, but you go over them, don't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I played basketball as a child, getting all defensive. God, slam dunk the fun. Anyway, so I've made a top 5, but I've got some honorary mentions, and I'm going to start with the honorary mentions because I think one of the first things that came to mind for me when it comes to comebacks was cashing my. I'm not a rugby fan, but I remember the first rugby match I ever watched was England-Australia in 2003. When I can't remember the score, but I think we were losing, and in rugby, the timer goes out, doesn't it? But it doesn't stop until the ball goes out of play. So it reaches 80 minutes, which is full time. Pass comes back to Johnny Wilkinson. Time stops and he kicks it through and England win the World Cup. I just remember like thinking, if that was a football equivalent, how amazing life would be right now.
Yeah. No wonder everyone lost their shit. But like,
he changed the whole game, didn't he?
Yeah,
that's
He
it.
literally changed the way we played rugby at the time.
Yeah. It became a setup and kick game, didn't it? Yeah,
I
for sure.
don't remember it being that last second, last stitch. Like,
It's amazing. If you watch it back, which I did this morning before this pod, it is goosebumps.
Sick.
I think that's what I love about sport. Like, I don't even have to like a sport to see the value in a moment and how much how cool it is. I could watch like lacrosse, and if someone did something last minute and everyone went crazy, you can kind of go, that's cool.
Yeah, and if you've played sport as well, you kind of like
you know the drama.
I've never seen bowls where someone gets a really close
you're
ball.
bringing up bowl again. It is good though.
It's really
especially when they're like 80 and they don't even celebrate it. It's just cold as ice.
a little one of these, just
Who do you think you are? I am. So, a couple of notary mentions as well. I had to mention Francis Ngannou. Just his life as a comeback. If you don't know Francis Ngannou, who is a UFC former heavyweight champion of the world, recently pivoted to boxing, go on his Joe Rogan episode and watch that because it's absolutely incredible. He was in Cameroon. Was he like digging sand? I think he had some job that literally was like digging sand.
Right, okay. Quarry in a mine or something.
Yeah, awful. And he got his body and his will from doing the most awful, mundane stuff.
Right.
Tried to get to Europe, but to get to Europe, you've got to go. I think it was either Morocco, Algeria. One of them. Someone correct me in the comments, but one of the whatever close to Spain. I think it's Morocco.
It's Morocco's the closest one. Yeah.
Then he was trying to get a boat to Spain, I believe, and that is just the most like policed.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And he tried so many times and failed, and then eventually got there. Then he went to France and ended up being homeless, lived in a gym, and then 3 or 4 years later, he's a heavyweight champion of the world.
Wow, that's class. So,
it's like, that's a comeback.
Yeah,
that's hunger.
Against all odds, isn't it?
Yeah, it truly is.
And I think that's what, we're going to touch on a few fighting things today. It's so brought to life by fights. Because it's so raw. It's so, this guy has nothing often. And now look at him. He's got everything. Despite everything, he's come back against all the odds. And that is just romantic, isn't it? It's like
100%.
So
that should probably technically happen more and more given the state of the world. As well.
Yeah, for sure. The other one that's a note we mentioned in the fight game.
Way.
What'd you say?
A bit of a cynical way of looking at things,
Well, you're going to offer that, aren't you? Let's not forget Tyson Fury. He was like, how heavy was he? He was like, so fat, came back.
You are so fat.
Suicidal, cocaine issues, and he came back to win heavyweight champion of the world. And that amazing moment of him getting floored.
Oh, I see Ben
coming up.
I see Ben over here.
That was a comeback.
Rolling those eyes.
Well, it's the same with, I used to love Ricky Hatton as well, but being a part-time boxer, it's like just getting fat on the off-season and thinking you're going to come in and operate top flight. Tyson Fury is very lucky that the heavyweight division is the worst it's ever been. But anyway,
I'm not actually a massive Tyson Fury fan, but that moment where he did the Undertaker and he got up, that was cool.
Yeah. You also wanted to see him win that fight anyway.
But that's why it's not in my top 5, because he didn't win the fight. It was a draw, which he should have won. But anyway.
Yeah, he should. That's true.
Right. So
I agree.
I'm going to go into my top 5 now. Okay. So in at 5 is the Rumble in the Jungle. So this was Muhammad Ali. And at this point, Muhammad Ali was 32. He was washed up. His aura of invincibility and that character that he created had kind of worn away. And he'd lost a couple of times. He was facing George Foreman. And I can't remember what country it was.
In the Philippines?
No, it wasn't in the Philippines.
That's the Philippines. Sorry.
I can't remember what African country it was in. Was it Zaire? Maybe. I think it was. I just remember there was that Ale Mumbai when he was going for a run. It was amazing. Yeah. Because he meant a lot to Africans because it was a black man. At this is before the fight game was so heavily dominated. I guess. I mean, probably the turning point was around the 60s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the heavyweight division were black men.
I wonder why there must be some like connotation to why they sided more with him than Foreman. I guess because Foreman's so American.
Yeah, I think Ali really started getting very African.
Yeah.
He started hanging around the Nation of Islam.
Yes, of course.
And I think it was that.
Yeah.
Also, character-wise, it doesn't get any better than Muhammad Ali. If you're going to cheer for someone, you're cheering for Ali, aren't you? Foreman was quite boring bloke.
I like George Foreman.
He wasn't Ali.
He knows how to grill.
He knows how to remove the fat from steaks while still locking in that flavour of grillness. 3999.
He also had a comeback of his own, by the way. Foreman did.
Yeah, for sure. But this was, if you've ever heard of rope-a-dope, this was the rope-a-dope, where for 9 rounds, Ali's technique was to get hit and avoid getting hit, but hopefully George Foreman would just wear himself out. So he's on the ropes going, he's
the Homer Simpson.
Yeah, it's the Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
And then in the 9th round, it's exactly that.
The Dredrick Tatum Simpson. That is phenomenal.
Classic episode.
Yeah, there was no Jewish bartender with a jetpack in this fight though. So
is Mo Jewish?
Yeah,
Sizzlack. He must be.
Mo Sizzlack.
I didn't know Sizzlack was a Jewish.
But his accent, he's like got that American Jewish accent. I would say
I've never thought about it. That's interesting.
I suppose because cartoon character. Anyway, but 9th round, he turned it on, and after you thought Ali was down, flurry of punches, drops Foreman and wins the belt at 32.
Clean.
At that point, the oldest heavyweight to win the title.
It's now Foreman.
Amazing. And in at 4, I was undecided between Liverpool. Because Liverpool are, so you're not a football fan, but there's something special when Liverpool play in Europe, special things happen. They don't always have the best team.
Apart from recently, but yeah.
Yeah, apart from this week where they've been knocked out. But the one that I'm not going to have in here is the AC Milan match, which is controversial. In 2005, in the final, 3-0 down at half-time. They had a really bad team, Liverpool. AC Milan had an incredible team. Incredible. One of the best of all time. And 3-0 down, you think it's done. They bring the game back to 3-3, and then they're winning the penalty shootout. Like the magic of Istanbul. The one I've got in my top 4, however, is Liverpool versus Barcelona in 2019. Oh. Barcelona were in the semi-final, were 3-0 up after the first leg, and this Barcelona team was incredible. Messi at his prime.
Better than the other.
Suarez. Liverpool won 4-0 at Anfield.
Suarez the bitey man.
Yeah. Liverpool won 4-0 at Anfield.
Still had away goals in that as well, right? Didn't they?
Yeah.
So Liverpool had to win by 4 goals.
And if Barcelona scored at any point,
it was game over.
I think I remember this.
Yeah, it was. It was 2019.
Yeah.
In the same competition, Spurs did an amazing comeback against Ajax as well, and the same the night after. But what was so amazing about this was it was just the Anfield crowd tasted blood. Origi scored early on. Gigi Wijnaldum scored 2 goals in like 3 minutes around the 55-minute mark. And then that Trent corner, I'll put it on stage, but Trent Alexander-Arnold put the ball down, kicked it across where basically the defenders were asleep. It was purely like reactive, instinctive.
No one ever takes a quick corner, but he took a quick corner.
He just literally saw that they were napping, kicked it along the floor and corner and float it in. And then Origi, who's like this striker that only ever did anything in a big moment, never got the chance to play normally.
Right.
It always happens that way. Like football's such a sport is such a soap opera, isn't it? Like
it really is. It's like
the people that always turn up at the right time are always there, isn't it?
But that game was one of the most enjoyable football matches I've ever watched live. Yeah. In at 3 is Leon Edwards against Kamaru Usman.
Come on.
So I asked my brother to give me a voice note this morning because he's so passionate. So Leon Edwards is a Brummie, so I'm biased.
Go on, Leon.
But the context here is Leon Edwards' life as well is absolutely crazy. His dad was a gang leader in Jamaica, was murdered. His mom moved him over to England for him to have a better life. He then got embroiled in gang culture in Birmingham. She put him into MMA to basically straighten him out, and it did exactly that. He never got any credit because he had no personality that he really played up to. He was the opposite of Conor McGregor.
He's super autistic.
Yeah.
But he's a straight guy.
But he trains. He's super skilled as well. No one gave him any credit. My brother went to see him fight at Wembley, not Wembley, at the O2, and Darren Till was on the card. They booed Edwards. And my brother was like, why are you booing an Englishman? But Darren Till got knocked out that night and Edwards won. Then he was basically always the number 1 contender, never got given a shot because he wasn't the sexy fight seller. Finally got his shot against Kamaru Usman, who was the most boring champion in a complimentary way. He just strangled fights. He was an amazing wrestler, but he wasn't. It wasn't what fans wanted, was it? He was. You could bask in his glory, but there was never that.
No likability about him, innit?
It weren't like when McGregor was knocking people out in 20 seconds.
It's a different kind of fight. Completely. You're
but
right.
you still respected it.
Yeah.
And Edwards came out. I think he won round 1, but then Usman won round 2, 3, 4 easily. It looks like another. He ain't got enough. And then his cornerman from Birmingham. I'm going to show you this little scene here, this video that I've got, because he's a Brummie accent as well. Come on, Leon.
Yeah.
And it's just such like, this is goosebumps.
Taking what from who?
That's a moral victory for him. Not getting finished. But he's got to do something big. He does.
Listen, stop feeling sorry for your well, come on then. What's wrong with you? You're too now. You got to pull the out of fire. Come on, Leon, man. You got it, man. Come on.
This is him practicing the kick, and then knocked out with a minute to go in the championship rounds. Yeah, that kick. And he set it up because he knew that Usman went to his right.
That's like etched in the top 10 knockouts of all time.
He's higher than top 10.
Just seen one of the new ones now, Max Holloway.
Goodness me. For 4 years. The all doubted me, so I couldn't do it. The all said I couldn't do it. Look at me now. Look at me. Headshot dead.
What a man. I actually met him before that fight in a sports expo, the Arnold.
Yeah,
and I remember saying, and he's a bigger guy than you think. I remember saying, "Go on, Leon. Like, you know, do you think you got this?" And because he had a chat with me, because I was working with Gymshark at the time, so I think he engaged a bit more than a normal fan. He went, "Everyone's sleeping on me, but watch." And you just think that's kind of chat that you hear. And I didn't really believe him, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But that was a moment like, look at me now.
Yeah.
And then he called his mum on FaceTime and it's like, look what, oh man, I like literally getting like goosebumps just watching that. Number 2 is United versus Bayern in the 1999 Champions League final. So United have been the first team to possibly win a treble, which is Premier League, FA Cup and Champions League. They basically had 3 finals in a row. They won the Premier League. The following Saturday, they have the FA Cup, which they win. And then it's all on this Champions League final against Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich strangle the game. It's 1-0, really boring game. And
Typical like the
German way of just winning. It's in the new camp as well, which is just a theatre, right? Yeah. And then they bring on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who is the super sub, never really started. Beckham gets a corner, floppy head Beckham, puts his hair back, gets it across, they get a flick on, goal, 1-1. And all the United players, they say, we were just ready for the extra time now. We weren't thinking to go and get it. A minute later, they get another corner off something like, just, wasn't even like a shot they got, it was just a nothing ball went out.
Right.
And then Teddy Sheringham flicks it on front post. Solskjaer just puts his leg out, and they basically scored 2 goals in injury time to win the treble.
That's the thing with sport as well. When you can do it, when you can spin the game in injury time, you don't even have to do it over. There's 30 minutes left, and you feel the tide.
Same with fighting. It's one punch.
Yeah.
And it just changes everything.
Everything can flip.
That's why we love it.
Yeah.
But so in at number 1, you got to be thinking, what's next? I'll tell you what's next.
Where's he going?
What is this?
Tiger Woods.
In at number 1 is the most dominant athlete of all time in any sport.
Athlete.
Don't get him started.
You in a room with that man, you would tell him you'd think.
We'd have some stories, me and him. I tell you, yeah. Go on. If I was in a room with that man.
You've got some similar traits, actually, you pair. So,
good at golf.
Tiger Woods win the Masters 2019 after personal life scandals.
True.
He hadn't won anything for 11 years. He's got 2 different vertebrae fusions in his back, which basically was like you couldn't walk again, he was told. Defied all odds, came back and won it.
Is so skeptically
He
looking at that.
He loves Tiger Woods, this lad.
No, but like,
This is unanimously. I did my research today to make sure I wasn't being overly biased.
Okay.
Which I'm going to obviously have some bias here. That is literally regarded. If you knew how bad his back was,
in terms of a comeback,
that is regarded as the greatest comeback in sports history. To win the Masters against a field of like really players at the top. But what was so amazing about it was he'd won the Tour Championship a few months earlier, which is the final event of the season. Only the top 30 players playing it.
Yeah.
And as he's on 18, the stewards.
That's the final hole, by the way,
The
guys.
stewards let the fans behind him.
Yep.
This is an amazing scene of thousands of fans, and it's just this magical moment because he's even the players that he's playing against. He's the reason they play golf. So it's this like, and he's old. His back's gone. Yeah. And on Sunday on the Masters, he was basically just running like a marathon runner, just behind the leaders, just biding his time. waiting for them to make a mistake. It was a really difficult day, really windy. And then he pounced on 16, where you put it right out to the far right of the green, knowing that the ball rolls round. It rolls about that far. And everyone's going mad.
You got to love the detail and the passion, though, haven't you? You know what I mean?
But if you remember 16 is that whole...
You know what I mean? Yeah,
It's great.
I don't respect it.
But 16 is the whole where... You remember the famous chip where the ball nearly stopped and then the Nike logo came up and then dropped, and then the commentator goes, "In your life!" It's like one of the most iconic, like...
I've never seen
Have
that.
you not?
No,
But again, like... plays it really far away and then the ball has to roll because of the slope.
Right.
And it stops on a dime and then drops in. And it's the same hole as what you put it close on. And then he wins. And then that's where that picture comes from. And I've got the... Yeah. Just what a man.
Peek it out one more time.
I love it. Yeah, it's great.
I do rate him.
So that's my top 5 sporting moments.
Those are good moments.
Have you got anything that you want to... that I've missed? I mean, I know it's impossible to write that list, right?
Sport, it's just the soap opera of life, isn't it, as I've already said.
Yeah.
But, this week has actually had a comeback.
You're not going to say Villa, are you?
Well, no, but to be more specific, me in the story specifically. So obviously, Aston Villa went through in Europe this week.
Yes.
We're the only English team left in any European competition now.
Fair.
All the big boys are gone. Fell at wherever they are anyway, obviously. But Sam's a Birmingham City fan, so you're not too...
So I don't know what Europe is.
But But anyway, no, I'm going to specifically talk about Matty Cash, right, in this instance for me, because all game I was slating him. I was saying, I didn't know why he started, because he's been injured. He's been out injured for a while. He's
And you
just come
love
back.
throwing your own players under a bus, don't you?
Yeah, come on. He wasn't playing well. He was the reason we conceded the second goal. So we were 2-1 up.
He's also a bit of a fuckboy.
Right, okay.
He is boohoo man to a T.
Oh, yeah.
So do you have a bit of a kinship with him? Is that what this is?
Yeah, he saves him for the rest of us, doesn't it? You know what I mean? But no, he was just like having a bad game. He was the reason we conceded the second goal, which meant that we were going out at this point.
Gotcha.
And I was just in my living room screaming at the telly like, why,
Fuming.
just take him off, get him off. Literally 5 minutes to go, he scores.
Keep him on. Yeah.
I told you.
Yeah. I knew he was great. And then he scored one of the penalties as well to put us through in the penalty shootout. So, me personally, I'd like to say well done, Matty Cash, for bouncing back in my living room.
Despite my hatred comments at you.
Because I was cussing him out, like. But we've all done that, haven't we? You know what I mean? We've all.
You're bad for that though. I rarely do that with my players because I'm superstitious. With England, I don't like to talk bad about the players.
No, you're right. You don't.
Because you'll crumble them.
Yeah, I'm like, well, don't get on their backs. They need us right now. But that's because I'm a Birmingham fan and we support a bad team that don't expect anything, whereas you support a team where you're expectant and arrogant and up your own arse. So
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
I've sent you one that's a lot less. I'm not going to say it's less dramatic. It means less to me. But when I first saw this, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Okay.
And it's a very famous. People will know this. It's a very famous fight. Czech Congo versus Pat Barry.
But Czech Congo, by the way, that's
Czech
a name.
Congo. And if you ever seen the man, he is everything you'd expect him to be.
Yeah.
Like not
Skinny white guy.
Yeah, basically that.
Bit of a lisp.
Yeah.
Cleft lip.
Walks around with a slight limp hand on him.
He's the closest thing you get to like a, I don't know, like a human bear.
Thoroughbred.
He's so strong. He's so like, you see his body and everything. He looks
Over under
ridiculous.
Kimbo Slice on levels of just pure brute.
Kimbo looks like he could be his son. Do you know what I mean?
Potato
Czech Congo
slice.
is just big, very.
Kimbo looks like he could be his son.
Minus the beard. But have a little look at this. And
Okay.
It's crazy.
Reach advantage of Congo. He's switching up his stance. Checked. Big right hand.
And was he given no chance before?
Looking to finish. It's over.
Mate, to be fair, he should have no time. Oh, wow.
Congo's going to turn it around.
He survived. It looked like he was out. He's out.
How's that not pulled back?
Still, man. Murphy is letting this go.
He's defending
That's
himself, to be
incredible.
fair.
Great job done by Czech Congo. He's in big trouble, though. Barry looking to finish the fight. He takes it.
Good night.
Oh, he's gone.
It's all over.
And there you go.
My goodness.
I bet it felt horrendous there still.
Yeah.
There's no...
The fact that, because that's the right question. How's the referee let that go on? The referee is seen. He's still, like,
You see it in their eyes, though.
He's out, but he immediately back in the fight, and he's still defending himself, and he's out again, and he's back in again.
There is a difference between, I don't know if you've ever had this, but where your legs go versus your head go, though.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because you
Your
can
legs are
lose
not
your
listening to
legs.
body anymore.
But if the ref looks at your eyes, isn't he? Because it's when your eyes roll back.
Yeah,
which
he didn't even seem stable on his legs either at the end then, did he? But he
There's
was,
no way you could be.
He was just powering through on whatever.
But I mean, Max Holloway this week.
That knockout, by the way.
How many seconds to go? 4?
Phenomenal.
Against probably the hardest chin in MMA history with Justin Gaethje, maybe, you could argue. That
You
guy's
could
taken
make
some
that.
shots.
You could make that.
Maybe not the hardest, but he's taken some shots.
Yeah.
Maybe this was just accumulation of them shots.
Holloway calling it as well.
They all added up.
Like, right there.
Yeah.
Ah, come on.
Amazing.
That's real drama.
See what is real drama? The fact that we don't have more subs.
Yeah.
That is dramatic.
Yeah. So if you are watching, listening, and you're having a good time with us, make sure that you subscribe, like, and drop us a comment. Let us know your favourite sporting comebacks because I know that I've not done a definitive job there because I don't think it's possible. I have been biased to my love of golf, Birmingham, and football, maybe.
There's definitely more out there, though. I
there's
mean,
more out there than Birmingham football and golf.
Them. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Would like to see some American ones. I know there's so many.
Yeah.
And speaking of Withers, don't listen to Bill Withers. Listen to Chew the Fat.
Withers.
On Spotify and Apple Music. Yeah, give us 5 stars.
5 stars.
Everything. Thank you for the support.
I do remember just
Bill
on
Withers.
just the 3 of us. We can make it. That's Bill Withers, right? Maybe. I remember when we were in a motel in America, we were getting ready. I think we had an hour to kill, and we had like ESPN on. And I remember Mulligan started getting transfixed with this baseball like heritage game that they'd like a repeat, and it was this like fat 40-year-old guy who couldn't run anymore, and he had to hit a home run to win. And out of nowhere he hits his home run, and he limps. It takes him about 5 minutes to get round, and everyone's crying and going mad. I'd love to try and find that again. That was amazing. So
That's like the ex-pros like playing a game.
No,
like,
it's a
heritage game.
still
No, sorry.
Oh,
it's
he
like
was still going.
It's a real game that meant something. He was just old, and he basically
Just
like
old and fat.
done his knee in early on in the game, but he had to back because it was his time.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's a story like that. Yeah, that's cool.
You missed out Andre Agassi, by the way. Who was actually a crackhead at one point. Oh no, meth head. Sorry.
Yeah, let's be fair. Is that why he lost all his hair?
Oh my God.
Still had his teeth. Anyway, he actually his dad made him play like 9 hours of tennis a day every day. He hated tennis.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Until-
Tiger Woods' dad. He used to like to make him a mentality monster, which is why Tiger was so amazing. If you were against Tiger in that final Sunday, the other people would beat themselves and Tiger would then win because they would be so intimidated by him.
Yeah.
Which is why, like on that 18 on the final day, his crowds are so big that when he put that shot close on 16, the roars were so loud that players on other holes, literally Brooks Koepka was on the next hole, looked behind. Was about to hit a shot, looked behind. That's in your head.
And then that's put him off the shot then.
100%. So that's that intimidation factor. But Tiger Woods' dad used to jingle keys and like knock him like that when he was putting. Which
General Keys.
yeah.
So
like,
that's
hilarious.
There's the answer, guys. Child abuse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
well, you've seen King Richard with Serena.
I would not-
Serena
I
Williams.
did not watch
That's
that
not
film.
child abuse, but it's pushy parenting, isn't it?
I mean, they're two
That
sides
is
of the
pushy
same
parenting.
coin.
That is pushy parenting.
I suppose abuse is when it gets to Anyway,
Because kids, you can't have a kid telling you that he hates the sport that you're making him play.
Yeah.
But obviously he'll thank you in 30 years' time when he's made up. But Jesus, that's not good.
yeah, you're creating
Michael Jackson.
it is Michael
That
Jackson.
whole
Yeah,
situation.
it's
Yeah.
exactly that.
I mean, it definitely causes issues. But hey, if they become a multi-millionaire superstar world beater, then you can kick back and relax, can't you, in your older years? You know
Can I
what
tell
mean?
you what,
Can
Dean?
they kick back and relax?
I think Agassi
No,
probably...
not the child, the
the
parent, can
parent,
be like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
all that pressure.
Look what I did.
I tell you what, if you've got a pushy parent and you want to clap back at them, maybe you've got a few things for them.
We're going to clap back. We're going to clap back. Well, comebacks. Hey, forget sporting comebacks. There was a good old TV show in the noughties. Wait, what was it? I don't know. Yo Mama. on MTV.
Oh my god, Yo Mama was
Oh
good.
my god, yes.
Remember Yo Mama?
Okay.
And Nick Cannon's Wild Now was good for that.
Nick
as well.
Cannon's Wild Now had some good stuff. So I just thought, what are some good comebacks? You know, if
That's
you,
so mid-nought, isn't it? Having a show
Just have a
called
show,
Yo Mama, wearing FUBU.
and there's just a bunch of people just saying Yo Mama jokes to each other. Yeah,
I
that's
remember I was
basically
obsessed with Yo Mama jokes for a little bit.
that is basically the essence of the show, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
a load of people in a car park
Yep.
saying Yo Mama to each other.
All
The
in-
budget would have been very low.
Yeah.
But we all
In a
watched
car
it,
park.
I guess.
I did obviously never watched this.
It's
You never saw Yo Mama?
urban environment
Right.
setting. What they do.
I thought you were talking about-
maybe like a pink Cadillac in the distance and just framing the shot.
Oh, do you want to hear one just so you can sort of get the...
I've got the assumption because I made me think of Dave Chappelle in The Nutty Professor.
right,
You ever see that whole bit? The Nutty Professor probably a
I
bit.
can't remember that.
Refresh my memory.
So the Nutty Professor, when he first goes to the comedy show in the film, Dave Chappelle is the lead comedian on stage, and his whole thing is rinsing everybody in the room. Now, the Nutty Professor, I don't know if you remember
Eddie
that
Murphy?
movie. Yeah. Eddie Murphy is the lead actor, but the comedian in the film is...
I thought it was
way.
Buddy Love on stage. Or...
No.
Oh, okay. I can't.
Because Buddy
Buddy
Love.
Love.
So the Nutty Professor first goes with the really attractive woman that he got. My goodness me.
I remember now.
Oh my goodness, she's so good looking. It's in real. But he goes there, gets rinsed because he's the big fat Nutty Professor. He then goes back as Buddy Love
And then-
with the same woman, and then
That's
like,
right.
Yes.
slaughters him
I
on
do
stage.
kinda remember that.
It's
I do
all
kinda
very
remember
good.
Yo Mama is so poor. She eats cereal with a fork to save milk. I remember that one.
Well,
Yeah, there's some big.
let's see if you can
her
remember
blood
any of
type is
these.
gravy.
Yo Mama's so fat she wears 2 watches because she's in 2 different time zones. Ow! Am I right?
That was... Okay, so
We're stepping all
I
over
literally...
it.
Gonna get a hell yeah.
This... You covered one of them, but I found that wasn't one I had. I found a website today, and the article had found 169 best Yo Mama jokes. Now I'm not going to read out 169, right? But
I've
I
got
also
time.
Strap in,
Yeah,
guys. We're here for a few hours. You thought Joe Rogan did a long podcast?
I also thought, why 169?
Yeah, make it 170 at least. But like,
Why? Also, just do the lot then. Excuse me.
just
do all of them. Yeah, 'cause- but if you need help with the bully at school, we got you over here at Chew the Fat, all right? So, couple that I picked out. Now, this is great. This is actually very intelligent. Your mama's so classless, she's a Marxist utopia.
Wow, that's really good. Actually,
that would go over most people's heads.
Who's thinking
brilliant,
on that?
mate.
Might-
I
might
don't
get
know.
Bullied more there, though, I think.
Not as trashy as you thought it was going to be, was it?
No.
Your mama's so old, she was a waitress at the Last Supper.
Yeah. Rated.
The best bit is when on those things it was, yeah, mama so fat, and everyone go,
How bad is she? Yeah.
and how bad is she? And it would be like that,
They tried to make it panto season out here.
and then it's like, you know, the video of the kids laughing, and then one kid walks towards camera. You know what I mean? It's like that comes up.
Very good.
Your mum is so clumsy, she makes Humpty Dumpty look like a gymnast. Feel free to take these and use them.
I'm never using that one. Yeah. Humpty Dumpty.
Your mum is so old, she walked out of a museum and then the alarm went off.
That's good.
But really, who's getting offended by these? Do you know?
No,
It's just-
exactly.
Oh, no, here we go. Your mum is so fat, her blood type is ragu.
Ragu.
But, so those are a couple, that wasn't,
Very
those
good,
were,
very good.
I read like, a few, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
How many pages did you get through
Okay,
yourself?
I got to about 80. I got halfway. But I also saw, just when I was trying to look at comebacks, I stumbled across another few things. And it was like a Reddit page, and it had a few more, but it wasn't Yo Mama, but they were sort of like
Classic comeback.
quick
quips. Yeah.
I'm returning your nose, I found it in my business.
That's very good. That's really good.
Your family tree must be a cactus because you're all a bunch of pricks, you know? Pretty blunt. And
Well, it's the opposite of blunt. It's quite sharp, actually.
well, hey.
Oh no.
And Ben, you'll like this one. May both sides of your pillow be uncomfortably warm.
Oh yeah.
Someone said that to me on a comment once.
That's criminal. Oh, the comment.
Yeah, I think I put a comment
No
saying,
way.
it's like, oh, I hope your pillow's warm or something. And I was like, I don't really get that comment.
Well, may they be uncomfortably warm, Sam,
Yeah.
you know? It's quite a gentlemanly comeback, that, isn't it?
Yeah. Wow, that's
Can you
horrible,
think of
though,
a
at the
good
same
movie
time.
comeback?
Oh God.
I remember Bane had some good ones.
I'll be back.
When someone said to him like, "Oh, you're a big guy," and he goes, "Yes, for you." Hans Gruber had some as well, didn't he?
Let's think. You know where you'd get the best one-liners of all time, are probably singularly in the film Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, let's think.
I googled one earlier, and there was a Judge Dredd one that I'm going to paraphrase now, but it was something along the lines of, there was an issue with the helmet, and he was like, I'm going to butcher it because I can't remember it. It was, you carry on and I'll try and find it.
Okay, so the first one, when he kills I'm going to go on a tangent with this, where he kills the big Eskimo fella on the ice skates, and he says, the guy's name is Sub-Zero, and he says, "Here's Sub-Zero, now Plane Zero." Yeah, that's the first one.
Okay. I mean, if you're struggling, I've got one from Cool Runnings.
Yeah. Oh,
when he's
go
like, what does he say? How about I draw a line down your head so it looked like a butt? What is he? What's that from?
Wow, it's so bad that we're not even doing them properly.
I know. Terrible.
I did not rehearse this bit at all.
No, that was not rehearsed. You want me to think off the top of my head on a Saturday morning? Well, it's not morning, but hey. Come on, Sam.
He cuts that guy.
You can't get it.
He cuts the guy in half with a chainsaw from his nuts upwards. And
what
in Running Man? And then the girl asks what happened to him, and he said he had to split.
Yeah, and it was Predator when he throws a knife. Stick around.
Knock, knock.
He's got some lines.
Come on. Writes itself, doesn't it? Anyway.
Have you got any more comebacks?
Unless you want the other 159 Yo Mamas. Then,
So I guess it's time for Mr. Clayton Cinema Club.
So here's a cute little one, actually.
You're full of cute little ones, aren't you?
I tried to get them. I wanted to talk a little bit about the meteoric re-rise to fame that happened with one Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, yeah.
This is, you know,
We love RDJ and
we
pod.
really do.
Yeah.
The guy's 1010. He really is unbelievable. But there's more to this story than I ever really knew, I think. And it starts off, let's go to his father, who was Robert Downey Sr., obviously.
Robert Downey Jr. Sr.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. Sr. A lesser-known filmmaker in his own right, in the 60s and 70s, is pretty much where Junior got his start in acting. He used to act in a lot of
it's a
his
little
films.
Nepo baby then.
Little Nepo baby, but I think he gets a pass because of just how crazy his story is in between. So, he was making some movies with him, like showcasing a lot of that, like charm and talent and like naturalness in front of camera, even way back then when he was a kid. So it just doesn't surprise us that he has then gone on from strength to strength since. But
that's a really good point, actually. I think that separates a lot of actors that are just have that. I think Matthew McConaughey's really great at that as well.
Oh, God.
That real naturalness of like not forcing a scene. They're not remembering lines. They're very, very present and they're delivering everything so effortlessly.
Yes.
Good actors, like that's the elite tier of actor.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, he was a real hot ticket through like the 80s and 90s. He was not officially part of the Brat Pack. I don't know if you guys know who that group of actors is.
Like Johnny Depp.
Molly Ringwald, Emilio Estevez, and those kind, like the Breakfast Club.
Breakfast, that was what I was thinking. Yeah.
So he
which is where Matthew McConaughey got his first acting thing.
Valid.
Yeah.
So he wasn't part of that officially, but he was like a somebody that would work with those people quite often. He did a movie with Molly Ringwald in like the height of her fame. Unfortunately, the movie wasn't super well received, but like he was still very good in it.
He was that age though, wasn't he?
He was that age.
Yeah.
So he's a big name at the time. He's in Weird Science. I don't know if you got
River Phoenix type.
That's a sad one. But he died, didn't he? Joaquin Phoenix's brother. No bounce back on that boy there. It's shocking. He was in SNL for a season as a main cast member. Unfortunately, was absolutely dreadfully panned. Like people did not think he fit in SNL at all.
Yeah.
SNL's a weird show though, right? It's kind of had its ups and downs, and overall, I think on average, but he wasn't ever
I've heard
really
it's pretty
that good.
political as well. Like the
Probably.
getting
Usually.
on. There was a lot of things about like black comedians only getting like little bits, and then Dave Chappelle was like one of the first people to like change that. And I think
No, but I think that's
you had to
a very
be in
good
the
point.
group, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which was very white
It was
Jewish in the 90s as well.
Clique mentality. You're absolutely right. So one of his career best performances came shortly after that with Chaplin, where he played Charlie Chaplin. Obviously, a much more serious, dramatic role, but that got him his first Oscar nod, which is huge for a young guy with all the talent he's got. He only lost out narrowly to, oh God, how bad? Al Pacino. Of all people, in Scent of a Woman, where he was a blind guy, and it was
Oscar film,
bait, right? So he lost out to him, which is a bit of a shame, but it's still a huge accomplishment for him as a young man in his career at the time. But this is where things started to go a little bit awry with the drug addiction that's kind of seemingly been around for a long time, starting to really get a hold.
What
of
drugs
him.
was he doing?
Oh man,
everything.
A bit of it all. So the story is he had his first spliff, his first bit of weed when he was 6 years old, given to him by his dad.
Wow, the gateway.
So I hated that because I was like, I don't want people to think that's what it is because I don't agree with it. But so his dad, apparently, the story goes that his dad found him drinking some wine and was like, no, son, give me that, have this instead.
Right.
And gave him a spliff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a chill guy, isn't he?
Interesting parenting technique.
I remember my brother had a cigarette when he was about 2. I remember this really
By
clearly.
accident, obviously.
Yeah, he just ate it, and I remember he didn't digest it because when he did a crap on the carpet, it was sticking out.
Oh, thank God! Actually,
Like a fucking Flake 99.
Yeah, literally.
99 flake.
Remember this day. I remember that old house I was in because I was 4 years older than him. I remember thinking, what the fuck is that? I think my mum was like, right, we've got to stop smoking now.
That's a
Or stop
wake
leaving them
up
on
call.
the floor or something.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, he seemed to have like a bonding relationship with his father through drugs. Right, the household was always known for having
their
drugs,
connector.
alcohol, and all sorts in his house. So he was doing them from a young age, which is just obviously a disaster waiting to happen.
It's amazing he got anywhere first, really, then, isn't it?
To be honest,
without getting just off the rails completely first before.
You always get like these tangential ideas of artists being so good because of their relationships with drugs and alcohol. So maybe that's the thing as to why he was so good so early on.
Free the mind.
They also can afford all of them.
Yes.
Where it's not like a street addict that's like doing what they can for a little hit. These guys can order loads and then keep doing it. There's that's not the barrier.
It's not this or dinner. It's this and whatever else you want.
I'm getting dinner after.
Yeah. So he was arrested in 96 quite famously for speeding, but when he was pulled over, he had coke, he had heroin, he had a 357 Magnum in his car. He was just on a mad one, just doing whatever he's doing.
I mean, hey, in this country, people got mad ones. But we don't have SA80s and 350 Magnums and like any of the rest.
That and
just
cocaine
knocking about,
It's a
dude.
bad combination.
Hey, I'm not a gun expert, but that doesn't seem to be a marriage made in heaven.
No.
I think it was unloaded at the time. I couldn't get any clarification on that. I think it was unloaded. Well, that was pretty loaded for sure. But the Magnum was not loaded, which is probably why he didn't get a more severe sentence. But like literally, was it a couple of hours after his first court appearance, he got on another mad one, broke into his neighbour's house, like drunk and high, and fell asleep naked on his sofa. So then gets arrested again afterwards, gets like court-ordered therapy and drug treatment and all that kind of stuff, which he runs away from, so breaking his court order and then getting himself into more trouble, and just a continuous then cycle of issues of running in with the law. So he's going through it at this point in time, and I think it's all-consuming, and it's more than anything else he's doing. It's so public as well, so people start to really look at him and go like, this guy's Hollywood cancer. We don't want him in anything. So this becomes like the big problem. His career literally seemed more or less over at that point in time. But then he starts to get a little bit of luck. He starts getting a bit cleaner, and he makes 4 movies which are considered to be his like comeback movies. And those are Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which I think a lot of people...
Yeah, good movie.
It's a very good movie.
It's got that weird director, that, hasn't it? That like doing stuff a bit...
Shane Black.
Yeah. Did he do Natural Born Killers as well?
Oh God, I should know that. I'm not going to know.
Feels like it's
He was in Predator as well, and a bunch of other stuff. He's been around. Makes good movies. Then he was in Zodiac, which is another big movie.
Good
Wasn't
film.
as well received, I think, critically at the time. But like, or like the audience, no, I think the critics loved it, and I think the audience didn't really find it. Obviously, in hindsight now, it's a way better film. People really love it, but yeah, at the time, didn't do super well. Tropic Thunder. Tropic Thunder was the real one that put him back on the map.
Really?
So
did he do first Iron Man before that?
I think it's around the same time.
Yeah.
I think Iron Man comes after Tropic
2007,
Thunder.
8.
I was going to say, I thought Tropic Thunder was way after, but yeah.
Tropic Thunder really did
so
just
funny.
like put him back up there because he got.
But also, he hadn't done many comedy things before that of that level, and he was so good at that role.
Dizzy, I should know this. It was in my original notes. Just to let you guys know, I did delete my original notes, which was a bit annoying. But I think he wins quite a prestigious award for his role in that movie, which is interesting because it's also an award that doesn't typically favour comedic roles. Right. So it was a big deal that he won an award for it, and obviously that character and that role is timeless. It genuinely is. It's such a well-written film, and I think unless a lesser actor could have really butchered that and
made it more offensive.
I don't think any like other than how it was, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't be. Do you know what I mean?
You're absolutely right. I think there would have been a real struggle with anybody else, but
it's just a moment in time, that isn't it? As well. Like, that's that.
And he pulled it out of the bag. And then Iron Man. Iron Man is the one.
And then the franchise that then became.
So Iron Man, we only really saw him cast as Iron Man because Jon Favreau, who's the director of the first Iron Man movie and a few other things, and you probably would have seen him in, you'd have seen him in loads of stuff. He used to be in Friends once upon a time. He really pushed for the studio to cast him. They didn't want to because of his checkered past. They were like, nah, not interested in him. He's a loose cannon or whatever. He ended up getting hired because Jon Favreau is so dogged about it. 500 grand is what he got paid for the first Iron Man movie. 500k, yeah.
I'd love to know what he got in the last one.
Endgame, 75 mil.
Bouncebackability, baby.
Wow.
Don't call it a comeback.
That truly is meteoric, that rise. That is so insane.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Incidentally, we also had... God, what was the guy that first played Rhodey in the first Iron Man film? Terrence Howard. Quite famously got replaced by Don Cheadle later in the franchise.
Oh, really? Terrence Howard.
Because Terrence Howard wanted as much money as Robert Downey Jr. was going to get for the sequel. And the studio was like, we can't afford that. Yeah, that's
no
ridiculous.
way.
And then the studio must have been really sweating when they got... Mickey Rourke and Robert Downey Jr. in the same studio for that film. That's like, let's pour acid and fire together and see what happens.
But I think just a really cool story. I don't know, people are going to be less interested because he was never an underdog per se. Like he was always a guy, like as you say, there's a little element of nepotism there. But he's really been through the
come from all that. But at what point did he get clean? I'm guessing he's clean, right? So
I think
he still dipped in and out. Didn't he?
He definitely did. Yeah. It wasn't. I don't think it was a case of just being teetotal.
Okay, so he hasn't just gone.
But I don't think I think that the mugshot era was like the real. It's like when Charlie Sheen. He was always a bit of a nut job, but then he had that real episode.
Tiger Blood and all that stuff.
Yeah,
winning. There's also some shout outs to be winning. My God, there's shout outs to be made to some of the relationships that he was in because he was famously with Sarah Jessica Parker for a while.
No way.
Who?
I'd rather shag a gutter.
Yeah, it's a bit of a that's a tough one.
Sorry, that's really bad.
That's nasty as shit.
She's got a face like a foot.
Shit like an elbow, yeah, that's what I was going to say. But she is credited for keeping him on the straight and narrow. She's the one that kept him off the smack for a decent amount of time.
Wow.
And kept him
working.
To it.
Yeah. God, you need smack to be looking at her.
Oh, well, there we go. Right, anyway, boys, there was the uplifting story of
Next week, Sarah Jessica Parker, lads.
Is our guest on Super
Fucking bastard.
No way.
That's amazing.
That's
it's a hell of a story.
Put together as well.
It's a hell of a story.
Lovely. Yeah, well told.
Nice.
Thank you.
I actually, just touching on that, I randomly read the Metro on the tube. I don't ever do that.
Right.
But I randomly read it the other day. I flicked through it. It's about 10 pages long now because probably no one reads it. 2, no one can be bothered to write it or read it. But in the middle, there was a piece on flipping hell. No. Edward Scissorhands. Flipping hell.
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Also could have a pretty good comeback story.
So the film he's in now, he's playing French, like a famous historic French person. I don't know. He's learnt French for it. It's a French film. He's speaking French.
I don't know anything.
There's a lot of crossover between Johnny Depp and Robert Downey Jr. I think they've had a similar kind of
trajectory.
And that's why I brought it up because I didn't even think until when you was talking about Downey Jr. I was like, oh, he was talking about how he's basically, since the Amber Heard thing, Hollywood doesn't want to touch him. He doesn't really want to go here. He feels like living his life. He's it just seems like he's done with Hollywood. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, once you've been chewed up and spat out there,
Yeah, but you lay low for a few years,
Almost.
you become almost vintage to use again, I think.
Well, isn't it also true now that he's going to be in the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie?
Yeah, they brought him back.
So
okay,
a big enough check comes your way.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
go, okay, I forget.
Well, they've got to want him to.
Well,
do
no
it,
one else
right?
can play that
No,
role either.
no one could do
They've
that.
come out to get him because
Yeah.
I think everyone. I mean, that court case has done him wonders, really, because
And he wasn't great.
no,
Like, there's no, like, she's awful, he's bad. I mean, she's nuts.
she was.
But he's not great.
So crazy
Yeah.
that it made him look way better.
But,
It was. It's not. None of it's good.
yeah.
Too crazy, huh? Too crazies. Yeah.
Yeah. Drunk
But yeah, so he's coming out in this French film. I don't know. It could be quite
Cool.
what's the word? Like a noir type. I don't know.
I haven't seen a good Johnny Depp movie in a very long time,
Yeah.
personally, though.
Black
it
Mass
could-
was probably the last good one.
Yeah.
Most people didn't watch it though.
I did watch that. I
Black
watched that.
Mass.
I thought my Ninth Gate was my favourite Johnny Depp movie.
Oh wow, that's a that's
Love
a
Ninth
throwback.
Gate.
It's a good movie actually.
I've got an Ask Your Uncles.
Oh hell yeah,
Okay. So this is more of a philosophical question for you both.
I love this already.
And I probably need to... I haven't really figured out how best to word this, so bear with me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could have a blue pill and red pill situation, and I'm not saying in that context, but
Yeah.
two routes you choose down in your life, right? You're both in your early 30s now. So let's say at 50 is the benchmark here. So at 50 on route 1, you are comfortable, you're relatively okay, life's fine. It's not really had much go wrong, not really had much go great. It's just fine. You know, there's no jeopardy in your life, but there's no real That's option 1. Option 2 is the next 10 years of your life, you're in the pits. You might have drug problems. You might even be homeless. You might, everything, you might lose loved ones. But in option 2, you get back on track. And by the time you're 50, you're thriving and you're rich in more ways than monetary ways, and life's good. What route are you taking there? I.e., do you want the bounce back or do you want the easy life?
I'm having the bounce. Oh,
But I mean, the route 2 that you are hitting the bottom.
actually,
oh hell yeah, like actual
Yeah.
rock bottom.
Yeah.
it would feel so sweet, wouldn't it? But also, don't know how much I want rock bottom. You know what I mean?
I
Although it'd be interesting, and you'd meet some characters along the way.
Yeah.
You'd be a much more interesting bloke at 50.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If
Yeah.
might not have the best teeth, but
Hey,
you can afford to
Turkey,
you can afford to
yeah.
do whatever you want though.
Oh,
What got me,
Route
do you
2 is
reckon?
definitely drawing me in.
It's
a
a
little
juicy
bit.
dangler, isn't it?
Juicy Dangler is so good.
It is.
Wait, so
Ben,
is
what do you
route
think?
2 the path,
It's a bounce back.
the bounce back path? It's always a bounce back path for sure.
Yeah.
You go through, be forged in the fires of hell, come back out the other side,
Yes.
and you're fucking
Yes,
winning.
that's how we go.
Every single
Hoorah.
time. Easy peasy.
Sam,
Obviously not easy peasy, but
he's got it. He's got it sweet right now, hasn't he?
Yeah,
So you know what I mean.
yeah,
He's got to
yeah,
keep
yeah.
that sweet life, huh?
Yeah. I don't know.
you got to think about giving up everything you have now.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah,
Because I'm pretty happy right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If you've got happiness now, mate,
But then,
don't jeopardize that.
yeah. But there is something romantic about losing it all and bringing it
Something
back.
so romantic
Yeah.
about it. It's
Yeah.
insane. Yeah.
Good question though.
Yeah.
Let us know in the
Do
comments
that.
what you would
Yeah,
do.
let's put it
Option
out to you
1
guys
or option
listening.
2. Would you rather take the easy route or the one that is paved in sorrow and glory?
I'm going to ask that to the wildcats that I work with.
Yeah,
and
what
come,
wild
back,
cats?
and come back with some answers for you. Oh,
We're going to finish on Laugh of the Week. Deanie Boy.
so did I send it? I think I sent it to you.
Have you? Let's see.
It's sport related,
Yeah.
so you know,
On brand.
yeah,
Yeah,
sort of.
okay.
Bit of a comeback, possibly.
The Sun.
Yeah, I know. It's. I know.
What have we become?
I know. So the article is by one
better
of
than
the
some of the journalism
one
you've
of the
been
less,
thinking
yeah, even though it's the worst.
Some of the journalists.
Yeah.
A woman nurses a hedgehog hat. Are we click on this, yeah?
Yeah, so you need to open it, but then there's a video you need to watch. But basically, this is a video which shows in Peru, I think it is, two teams playing a game of football
Wow.
in what can only be described as a
bog.
Marsh.
bog,
Yeah,
a marsh,
that's
a creek,
So the headline
a
is
paddock. I don't know.
the headline is waste of time. Waste spelt like Waist, because it's waist-high grass. World's worst football pitch goes viral as players struggle to stand up in waist-high mounds of grass. We watch?
Yeah, the ball disappears.
Oh, great. You don't need to watch.
No, it is funny. You can't.
Esto sucedió en el estadio de Maccabi, Melgar,
What a setting for a match,
jugando
yeah.
buscando la pelota y no fútbol de la Copa, pero esta es una clara
Looks
muestra
like you've
que
got a
las
Pokemon battle on
autoridades
there.
no les interesa la
Looks like an arena, doesn't it?
Why did it appear?
Aquí se juega buscando la pelota.
Why did you even start with that? God, you'd be knackered.
Oh, you would, wouldn't you?
You'd be abs- Have you ever played football on
It'd
the
be like
beach?
running through treacle, that would, yeah.
Running through treacle. Why is the cameraman so far
I know,
away?
I know. That's not. That doesn't help matters
It's a
either.
proper
Does it?
match as well. Like they're wearing like half decent kits.
Yeah.
And so why is this a comeback?
No,
Oh, it's not. It's last week.
wasn't
Sorry,
it?
yeah, sorry, my bad. That's oh my god. That is
God,
like
that's so hot.
It's insane, isn't it? Okay, so red or blue pill? Would you rather play on that pitch with that view, or would you rather play down the similarly terrible pitches in Birmingham?
second route in Birmingham. I
Yeah.
couldn't play on that.
No.
I couldn't play on that.
You just can't
You
play.
can't play.
You couldn't play seriously on that.
No.
You could have some fun on that.
You'd be
you know?
taking people out into the moss. wouldn't you? It looks spongy though.
It looks really good.
Soft
Yeah.
You'd be getting all the little bites as well, wouldn't you? Oh,
Or the midges.
yeah. I tell you who needs to come back.
Electric journey with the Hyundai Explorer.
Thank you, son. Tell you who needs to come back. The bloody groundsman.
Yeah.
He needs to have a comeback,
Yeah, he
doesn't he?
does, doesn't he? He's got a tough job on his hands.
Talking of comebacks, next week we'll be coming back for episode 28.
Wow.
But thank you all for listening and watching for episode 27.
Oh, hold on 1 second, real quick. Shout out to, I know it's probably happened already, but my little brother and James and Alex, his friends, are running the London Marathon tomorrow. I mean, it probably already have happened by now, so well done, guys. And
This
good
episode
luck.
comes out really soon, though, so it'll be yesterday.
Okay,
Nice, yeah.
amazing. Yeah, great job.
Yeah.
But no, good luck.
Wow,
They're
way to
running it
set that
tomorrow.
world record, Alex.
Yeah. Well done, the boys.
Way to get that Charlie horse and run it off. What a bounce back.
Charlie horse.
But no, they've done a lot of training and a lot of
And Alex,
horrible, windy, wet nights in winter. So fair play to them boys.
Yeah.
Good on the boys. Yeah.
and everyone running that marathon, fair play to you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
amazing. But yeah,
But good luck.
good luck to everyone running. Good luck to everyone that's limping today because you're watching it on Monday, day after the marathon. And yeah, thanks everyone for listening and watching, and we'll see you all next week.